3, 2, 1. LARP stories. Alright, friends. So, these LARP stories, coming to you from Siobhan and I, are from the very last Kalidor game ever to exist. And technically it wasn't even a Kalidor game, because it's run by the people who now own the Edmonton chapter, the people who own the Edmonton chapter, called Gallardane. So this game was like their sort of like ode to all the stories that needed to be tied up and like all the stuff that needed to happen before they could move on to like their new things, you know? So that's basically the premise, right? And it was interesting, I think, in that like lots of people showed an interest in like coming out and like checking it out, but that it was a fairly small game in terms of numbers. Like, we didn't have that many people there. But we saw some people we haven't seen in a while, which is nice. Including you, I guess.
Yeah. It's been like 3 years since I've been there.
Since you've been to Kalidor, yeah. It's been a little while. So we got some like people who come out for the farewell, because, you know, different owners of the chapter, different arguments with people and whatever, right? Like, lots of people were like, I'm not coming out while those people own the game because complaints, you know? But, like, now it's kind of less of a problem because the people in charge still need to prove themselves either way.
Yeah.
Basically.
Under new management.
Under new management, yeah. Exactly. So this game was touted as, like, it was going to be fucking dangerous, you know? Like, the way that they presented it was like, this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a game you lose, you know, like, is kind of how it always felt to me throughout the game.
Yeah.
Which is okay, because, like, it's supposed to be the end of a story, and we knew that they wanted to move on to, like, some new stuff, which means they had to get rid of all the old stuff. So the premise for this game was that, is he an emperor? Emperor Alexander? Or is he a king?
I think he's a king.
All right, well, King Alexander.
Yeah.
So King Alexander of Alexandria, which is an undead nation of like horribleness, had taken over most of the island, like most of the island of Aeryn, which is like the Kalidor island, had been taken over by Alexandria, and we were like the last bastion, you know, like the last living bastion of hope for the island. Everybody else was dead or gone, basically. And anytime we were like, I'd like to send a message to X person to like get some help, they're like, they're gone. They're good. They're not there.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. So So we're supposed to be like this last pocket of resistance against an undead army. And so naturally I assumed like lots of our lots of our enemies during the game would be undead. I was incorrect about that.
Yeah, it was difficult because like, all right, I am going to prepare myself and bring all the things against undead, and then there are some other things. There's some like, okay, well, there's some like vampiric wolves, which, you know,
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that like made sense, but I was expecting like waves of ghouls and stuff. You know what I mean?
I guess also that's not really kind of like Alexander's style, so I'm kind of glad that they did that, because like in terms of like, so this character NPC Alexander is someone who is more about like screwing with you rather than like using like minions to do his bidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just like my assumption of undead army is different than what we got, but that's okay. I don't mind that because undead are like my weakness. I'm terrible against them, so it's better that there was living stuff. I'm very happy about that. And of course, the undead have trouble during the day, right? So, what did we do Friday night? What was our first move? I mean, we claimed the cabin that I usually claim, so we have like the same location in this site that I usually have. But I was the only Gen Vespin there. We didn't have any of the rest of the cool Gen Vespin swarm people. It was just me, and I only went because Amon went. So basically the whole thing is like, why are we here? Tell me why I have to stay here. This place is gonna explode. Everybody's gonna die. Why are we here?
Well, because Iman like heart twinged when someone asked her to come.
Yeah, someone was like, come help us, and she's like, okay. Soft-hearted people that I'm attached to. God damn it. But yeah, so we were set up. And we had, who did we have in our cabin? We had Barrett in our cabin. Barrett is a longtime character of Caravalian in chat, or like Will, as he's known at a game. And Barrett is like this big fightery dude, like fawn. He looks super cool. He's got really good makeup, and it's like these little floppy ears and these big horns.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. But
like made of metal.
Yeah, like full plate mail armor. Yeah. He's like really, really beefy. And then we also had Yuki, who's like a little hobbling, like assassin. I think she is. I don't know what class she is, but yeah. she's got lots of dodges and stabs things.
Little daggers.
Yeah, like tiny little daggers. And who else? We had Sten there after a little while, and Sten is Hippie Kicker's character with a big shield. His whole thing is that he just like is a wall you can't get through. But every time I fight him, I just go magic, and it works. Unless he's like got his reflect thing on. But, so I'm not entirely sure. It didn't really work so well this game, but that's okay. All right. So we had our little cabin together, and that was our little gang. And actually, when you looked at our little gang, we were probably a bunch of the like more competent people in town, other than like one or two outliers elsewhere. Like there was a bunch of people from the Vesmir camp, and Vesmir's like the god of natural death. He's like the Grim Reaper sort of thing. And a lot of people in there were like sort of good as well. So like Talon, obviously, like really, really strong. May is a paladin, you know, she's pretty strong too. I don't know about Argus. I don't know how strong he is or like what he does really, other than talk a lot.
Gets set on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was sort of like a couple of other people scattered around, Dalen and like those kind of people. Yeah. But we had like a very competent room of people.
I think one of the things, like, my theme of the event was like working together.
Yeah.
And how coming into a place that doesn't do that when an undead army is bearing over you is not a great time.
Yeah, you can see how it's going to go badly. Certainly. Everybody's sort of like squabbling for their own little like camps or being in charge of something or whatever, and it's like, no guys, we gotta work everybody's gotta come out when we ring the bell and like fight, because if you don't, we don't have enough people. Yeah. You know, like that kind of stuff. And some people are just too scared to do that or too lazy.
Well, I think it's also that like just the way it turned out, like the leadership of the like kind of game, the characters who were leading the group beforehand weren't here at this event.
Yeah.
And it already seemed like it was kind of scattering about. So even those people that were familiar and the people who were usually kind of the people that would gather other characters together just weren't there.
Yeah, they just didn't come out. So it's one of those things. But so Friday night, we arrived through the Skyn Gate into the town and claimed our cabin. And I don't remember exactly what, I think there was a meeting.
We went to find a shaper for rituals.
Oh yeah, the first thing we did was a ritual. So Iman wanted to put a light circle in our cabin so that we had somewhere to resurrect, you know, and like heal and stuff. And that it was just a good idea. So Iman wanted to put a light circle in our cabin. And so we went to find a shaper to do that, like, pretty much immediately. Game started, we went to plot camp, we're like, hi, we need somebody to, like, marshal a ritual for us. And they're like, Archer was, like, shaping over there, and he goes, yeah, of course. Yeah, he has that tone of voice. Like, yeah, of course. But I have to marshal the new player mod first. So I'll come and find you when I'm ready. you just have to wait a little bit. We're like, okay, yeah, sure. So we went to the cabin, and we sat around in there for a little while.
Yeah.
Talking and just like getting some character stuff sorted out. We didn't want to leave because we didn't want him to arrive and nobody to be there because that'd be rude. So we were just chatting in the cabin and like getting things sorted and like talking in game a little bit. Did you do the braid stuff with Barrett then, or?
I don't remember if it was then or after, but I don't think the ordering is super
No, it's not important.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talk.
Yeah. So I was talking last time about kind of like Imon's braid or group of people that she's gathering together in a tribe,
Like a team,
family dream team, superhero team. Is that what we're going for?
That's what we are.
So it's all about kind of like spiritual-ish, where you're assigning kind of like animals to various people, and then the little animal fetish, I think they're called, or animist.
Yeah. So for example, I showed you last time we did stories. I showed you that Aeryn has like this picture of a wasp that is written in her name. You know, like it's like a wasp, but it's drawn by writing letters of her name. And that's like her animist for Imon's braid. It's called like group. And so she is the wasp. You know, like she has like that is her spirit. You know.
Yeah.
And so you added Barrett this game to the braid, right?
Yeah.
What did you give him?
So I gave Barrett a goat.
A goat?
A goat. He is stubborn, he digs in his heels, he doesn't let go, and I think he can eat anything.
And he has big horns.
Well, yeah, he also has very big horns.
Yeah.
So in terms of the fawn that he is, he's kind of like pulled into being more goat-like. To be kind of like more satyr-y, I guess. And well, it was just too.
It was too good.
Too
yeah,
it's
like, too good.
Yeah, if it looks like a goat, smells like a goat. Wait a second. Maybe I shouldn't say bleats like a goat, but I'm going to anyway.
Then it is a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Barrett has a lot of letters in it, so creating a little goat image out of 7 letters was
tough.
Tricky.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
So Barrett got added to the braid really early, which is good because like it creates a bond. You know, it's nice to have like sort of a family unit.
Yeah,
you know, it's cool.
So the family unit was Aeryn, Barrett, Imon.
It's a terrible family. It's a very bad family. We don't get along very much.
Well, the color schemes match, like black on black, and then black.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you just green.
It's true. I mean,
not sticking with the uniform. Come on.
Clearly, Aeryn needs to like toss some of her like appropriate clothing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Just
stand out too much.
Dress you up like an evil wizard like me.
Just toss your hat over and be like, hey.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on from that, we eventually got Arthur there to marshal the ritual. We did the ritual, where we were a little short on time, and I had to improvise at the end and like say some stuff and like hopefully draw the time out to the end of the ritual. Because I wasn't sure exactly what the rule was. You know what I mean? Like, whether we called it or he called it or what have you.
So he has to call it always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did the thing. And we got a little Sybil altar in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
As well as the ritual was a success, so we didn't have to worry about any flaws or backlashes or bad stuff about the ritual. Aeryn is an evil wizard. She's an evil witch shaman. It's true. It's true. You're right. But so we got a little altar, and we can give out blessings from that altar, which means that Imon doesn't have to waste her level 1 spells memorizing blessings.
Aeryn prayed for a bless for herself this event.
I did, because the great thing about a bless you cast on yourself is that it counts as a death ward, basically, right?
Kind of.
I mean, against the death. right?
Yeah.
Against the death spell.
It's against any kind of dark spell, so you could use it against
so like,
changeling bonds.
Okay, so dark or yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Does it work against draconic?
No.
No, just dark.
Wait,
okay.
just dark and light. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I should have used it against changeling bonds. I thought it was like a death ward. But so I've never cast a bless on myself because I'm not a weaver. I don't have the ability to get light or dark magic, and even though that would be awesome if I had dark magic on Aeryn, I'm male, like it would be sweet. But I don't have the ability to get light or dark magic because I'm not a devoted cleric to anything. But because I'm invested in the circle, I can cast one on myself because I can cast blesses on people in the circle because I'm part of the creation of the circle, basically. So I was like, wait, if I cast it on myself, it gives me benefits. Whereas if you cast it on me, it gives me nothing. So I guess I'll kneel at this altar and be all like, Sybil, help me out. Don't smite me down, please. Alright, cool. Thanks. Pretty much.
One day I want to just like listen because Iman always walks away. She doesn't she gives Aeryn privacy.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what she says.
I just copy stuff I've heard you say. So when you're like, guide us on our hunt and protect us and make give us the results we desire, sort of thing. She just does that. She's like, that's how you do it, right? Those are the words. I'll do that. I'll do that thing. So we did that, and while we were doing the ritual, we had Yuki outside, guarding the door, and a couple of times during the ritual, we heard her going like, "Hey," or trying to be angry at someone who came up to deal with us or whatever. She's warding people away, no, don't come in here because she doesn't want us to fail the ritual or backlash the ritual because we get interrupted, right? But so the ritual's coming to an end, and we could hear her moving around and fighting something outside. And I'm like, shit, So we finish the ritual, we get up, we go outside, and she's trying to ward off this big wolf,
Yeah. It's something is weird with this wolf because it's swinging magically.
Yeah. It's not just a regular wolf. It's swinging, and when it hits you, it makes you feared, because it has the cower carrier. So it swings for 5 magic cower, and cower is a skill that means you have to get out of line of sight of the thing for 10 seconds. I think it is.
Yeah.
And then you can come back, but you have to get out of line of sight of the thing that hits you with cower for 10 seconds. So it's a little dangerous, because everybody goes running off everywhere. But it only works if it breaches your armor, so it's not so bad. But we wanted to try and deal with it nicely, because it's a wolf. And so Iman tried to interact with it peaceably, because she has her own spirit, which is a wolf. And when you have the spirit, the shaman spirit power, you get innate animal kinship with the animal type. So for Iman, it's dogs, all canines, and for Aeryn, it's insects, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she's trying to she's sort of friendly to the wolf, and trying to lead it away, but it was too interested in all the other stuff that was going on, and it wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So we had to kill it eventually.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, we didn't. We didn't kill it.
No.
What happened was it wouldn't go away, so I horrored it, and then I just pushed it away.
Yeah.
I think is what happened, because it was and you're scared of me, and fuck off.
Yeah, it's go away.
So I don't know where it ended up or who it ended up hurting, but we didn't deal with it.
That's true. Strange wolves. Strange wolves.
Yep. So by this time, it was really fucking early in the morning. Really early. Early enough that we heard the morning birds start chirping. You know, when you hear those birds that you only hear in the morning? We could hear them chirping. It wasn't dark, but it wasn't light either. You know, it was sort of just getting to that twilight hour in the morning.
Oh, but there was also gathering people.
Oh, yeah. And we went to go, because we did hear that first, and then we went to go to the meeting. So there was a meeting late at night of the whole town, where people said their piece, you know, about what we were doing here and why we were here, and tried to be inspiring and stuff, you know. Zaslamel, West's character, long-standing martial character, he's been in charge a bunch of times and whatever, and so he was doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
And trying to, like, inspire people and stuff. And we heard that the Skyne Gate, like the gate you come in and out from, was going to be looked at by the Skyne Mage every day.
Yeah.
He was going to come through, this mage from the Skyne Dominion, which is, like, the group that controls all the gateways. And he was going to look at the gate and see if he should shut it down or not, because he doesn't want the undead army to get off the island, right? So, if they're too close, he's gonna shut the gate down, and then we'll have no way to get off the island ourselves. Yeah. Like we have no way to get out of there, right? So this was like pretty terrible news. This was like, why should we stay and risk a stab at an undead army we're not gonna beat when we could just leave through the gate while it's still open?
Yeah,
you know, which it's fair, you know.
Yeah.
But so we had this meeting and we got told these things and. You know, that all went down, and then I think we headed back to our cabin. No,
because the meeting was cut short because there were some people in the other room that just. So they're talking about all the resources that the town has. One of the things that they had is that previously, one of the leaders of the town who wasn't here at this current event had set up a healing circle with a lot of augments on it that made it very powerful. So if you came into this circle, you would be able to kind of like stave off death indefinitely.
Yeah.
And all of these other things, it would heal you automatically and things like that. So they're talking about that. And as this is going on, someone runs out from the side room of the tavern and says, like, they've destroyed the circle.
Yeah, so while we were having this meeting, in the other room, the healing circle was destroyed. So that was a huge blow. That was one of those things that was like, shit, you know, like, where are we gonna resurrect now? Like, what are we gonna do? I mean, we were fine because we had the light circle and we could resurrect there, but like, not everybody wants to go through a circle devoted to a god, right?
Yeah.
So they busted up the healing circle, and so there wasn't a resurrection circle in there anymore. It wasn't like a safe space that repels the undead automatically, and all that sort of thing. Because, you know, the undead army has living agents that can operate slyly and so forth.
Yeah.
During this game, there were so many, like, oh, you're village peasants? Sure you are. Sure, we're the only living bastion of people on this island, but I guess you're just peasants. Yeah, you totally survived. You're definitely not fucking assassins. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on. So I think after that it was sleep time on Friday. So we went back to our cabin. We settled down a little bit, and then probably about an hour after we'd settled down, we heard laughing outside, which is always like it's ghouls. You know, like ghouls laugh crazy and like run around, and they're scary. They're pretty scary because they're just like cackling maniacally, being all like and like running around killing people. It's not great. It's not a great time. But we heard laughing outside, and then there was like a knock on our door, and they opened it. Whoever knocked like opened it, and Barrett on his bed immediately grabs his spear and has it like right up to the door frame,
while still lying down.
And he's still lying down in his bed, but he's got his spear up. And the ghouls are like, they start being ghouls, you know? And he just starts railing into them with magic damage, and they're like, ah! You know, like, back up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then one of them starts talking. It's like, do you know Isabella or some other person that I didn't know? We were like, no, we don't. I got out of bed to be like, no, we don't. Leave, you know? I was like, am I gonna kill these things, or are they just gonna go on their own? If they go on their own, I don't have to waste any spells. And so like we had a little conversation, and I got a little close because I wanted to see how close I could get without them like doing anything. And while I was standing near one, it hit me a couple of times, but I had armor on, so it's fine. Well, I had magic armor, so it was fine. I didn't take any damage, but So I backed up, but they never came inside. Like, they never stepped into the building. And then they just left, and we closed the door.
Yeah.
It's like, whoever Isabella is going to be in trouble, but that doesn't matter to me, because I'm not. I'm fucking tired. It's the middle of the night. Or not the middle of the night, the early morning, and I'm going back to sleep. Fuck it. So I went back to sleep.
Yeah.
You know? And then Saturday morning, what was Saturday morning? What do we do?
I think there were more wolves around. I know we woke up.
Like, what woke us up? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Sorry for all the sniffling, by the way, Chad. I'm just like... ugh.
I don't remember what woke us up, but at some point we ended up in the tavern, like, talking to, like, Denarthos.
Oh, yeah, that was probably the first thing. I think we
Yeah.
went to the tavern to see who was, like, up and awake and stuff. And while we were sitting, like, talking with some people, that Weaver came in.
Yeah.
Right? So we're sitting around talking to some people in the tavern on Saturday morning. We're up way earlier than we want to be, even though we slept in. You know, like, all of us are tired. And we're sitting around in the tavern talking to, I can't even remember who. But then this NPC comes in, and it's like a wolven with a big greatsword.
Yeah.
And he sits down and he's talking to some people, and he's talking to like this group of people that are like trying to learn Undead Hunter from him, right? And so we figured
Yuki is one of them.
Yeah, and so we figured that we don't really need to talk to him. He's not like, it's not important really. He's doing Undead Hunter stuff. Like we're cool. We're sitting around like eating a little breakfast or like doing something like that. I remember. And then he gets done with the undead training stuff. And he gets up and how did he get our attention? It was one of those things where it was like,
I think I was talking to him more because he came because Argus called
oh,
him.
yeah.
And Imam likes talking to Argus, so it's like, hey, this person.
So why are you here?
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So he got engaged by Amon, so to speak. And he sat down with us and we were talking. And we found out he was a weaver of Denarthos, which is like the god of nature, you know? Like the god that merged with the world tree, you know? And Sybil and Denarthos get along really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, her being the weaver of Sybil, him being the weaver of Denarthos, it was just a nice old chat, really.
Yeah, it's like, what do you need, tree man? I can hook you up.
And then that spirit came in, or not spirit, but the aspect or the creature.
I didn't know the wild elf.
Yeah, the wild elf.
The wild elves.
Yeah.
The wild elves. Yeah.
Came in and was like looking for Rend. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're looking for the spider Therian. We know there's one here.
Yeah, but before that, like just when he shows up, then like the shaper who was playing the Denarthos Reaper just like puts his hand on the head and leans forward. It's like you feel this a tug of Fenrir right over there and points to the NPC. I'm like, okay, I'm off over there.
Going over there, yeah.
Stands up, leaves the conversation.
When you got up without saying anything, I was like, fuck. like whatever this is, okay, we're going. But so we went, and he was outside the back, like looking around when we caught up to him, and he's like, "I'm looking for the spider Therian. I have, and I'm like, why? And he says, well, he has two options. I give him this tincture, and he like gestures to this elf he has like bound next to him who's holding something. I give him this tincture, and he makes a hunt of his like Therian form.
Yeah.
Or he refuses, and I make him my hunt. Yeah. You know?
It's like the only choice that Fenrir gives people, predator or prey.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay.
Let's find him.
And immediately I'm like, he's over there. Because I can see him.
Yeah.
I could see him over by the fire pit, like his black armor and like his red hair, you know? I can see him over there, so I'm just like, that's him.
Yeah.
Totally just like dobbing him in immediately. But, you know, he was going to get found eventually, so I was just saving the shaper time, you know? And so these two wild elves go over to the fire pit and we follow them. And
well, because Iman is like, if anyone screws with this thing, I'm screwing with them. Like,
yeah,
that's
it was sort of like if Ren decides that he wants to fight this rather
Yeah.
than accept it, he's also gonna have to fight us because I'm not gonna let it get hurt. And Barrett followed with us as well.
Yeah.
And I remember with like leaning over to Barrett and being like, if he chooses to fight, we protect the Sybil worshiper. You know? That kind of thing. I remember saying that and he's like, yeah, of course. You know, like, all right, good. Yeah, just because I didn't know everybody's allegiances or any of that stuff. So we got that sort of sorted. And while we were standing around, you know, it's like, well, are you going to take the tincture or are you going to fight me? Mm. And he's like, umming and awing, and he's like, can I take some time? And the wild elf's like, no. No, you choose now.
Yeah, it's like, you not negotiate with the angry wolf.
And so he ends up picking to take the tincture and like drink it, and then hunt his own like Therian half. Yeah. You know, which is cool. It's a good way to do it, and I don't know what he got out of it when he like ate the heart of it. Probably something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is like them removing Therians and vampires from the game. In like story ways, you know, because they don't just want to be like, and you lose all your powers and you got nothing, because we're part of the rule set right now is that we're getting rid of that stuff. So this was kind of a way to do that in a story fashion, which seemed good, you know. And even if he'd refused now, in the future he would have had to do something, because like it's just sort of like a choice you're gonna have to make at one point. Which is why you did yours so early, right? Where you're like, just take it away. You're like, But so that happened, and then you talked with them for a little while, right? After.
Well, I kind of like Iman kind of just like knows her way into this very private situation, and just like, I'm following you and watching your entire internal struggle with yourself. Then watched him, like, he has a spider Therian, so then he was eating the heart of the spider, and I'm like, that's gotta. In my head, I was like, that's got to be a gigantic mess. Like, the heart of a spider is, like, the entire internal of a spider. Yeah. It's like, all right. Yeah, she was really curious how it would go down, because she knew that he worships a dragon.
Yeah, Ixia.
So accepting God help is...
It's interesting.
Yeah. But he had a great line for, like, him accepting it. It's like, I will prove myself to my dragon another way. I don't need to rely on this crutch to be strong. Yeah. And it's like, yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, let's do this.
But while you were watching him fight, and like while that stuff was going on and he was eating the heart and whatever, Barrett and I stood a little further back, and a bunch of fucking wolves like came howling in while that was going on, and I'm like, oh, we can't let them interrupt the whatever's going on down there. So we got in the way. We got in the way of that. You know, we were fighting these wolves. I'm like, fuck, you know, sonic blade out, like dealing magic damage, like that kind of stuff. They weren't too difficult, but there was like a lot of them. There was like 7 of them almost, maybe 8.
There are as many wolves as kind of like us.
And so we ended up in a little scuffle with these wolves. It wasn't difficult, but it was really a thing that like I was concerned it was going to interrupt the story or prevent anything, prevent something from happening. So I wanted to like get in the way of it. But it was fine. We beat these wolves, no problem. And then you guys came out from the tree line. And I had talked to the Nightshade elf that was with them, that was tied up and stuff a little bit. I'm like, do I see a Nightshade? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And the other wild elf with the white markings, who was the one like doing all the talking, came over. And I said, I don't know if you know this, but myself and Iman, cleansed the Nightshade of their spirits.
The Therian spirits.
The Therian spirits. So that's a hunt you won't need to go on, basically. And he's like, oh, all right. You know? Like, it's not entirely finished. There's still things to do on it. But... it's cool. You know?
Conveniently vague on the things to do. Like,
I didn't want to upset the civil thing. But I wanted to tell him that we'd worked on it.
Yeah. Like, so no, we've got this. It's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet, but...
But also, he didn't really want to talk, I think. He had, like, his one mission, and then he was like, I'm out. You know?
Yeah.
So he started to leave. And the Donarthos worshiper came out onto the field when the wolves came in.
Yeah.
So there was, like, a little bit of stuff going on. And he walked up to us and was like, oh, do you all have, like, improved weapons? Have you got blessings on your weapons?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't take anything from you. I have a blessing of Sybil. You know, I'm not going to take away the blessing of my friend's god rather than like take yours, even for power, sort of thing. And he's like, it should be all right, you know, in places of great verdance and like harmony, you know, Donarthos and Sybil, they work together, so I should be able to use the Sybil blessing to improve your weapon. And I went, fine, might as well. Expecting him to be like, divine relic or whatever, and then hand me back the magic weapon or whatever. But so he takes it and he goes, like, ritual divine relic or whatever, and then hands it back to me. And he's like, so you get +5 strength while you're holding it. You get +1 magic aura on it, so it swings for 2s. But because I have 5 strength while I'm holding it, I'd swing it for 4s. Because it's like per 2 strength you get a damage. So I'd swing it for 4s. It also is indestructible and soulbound.
Yeah.
And it has 3 spellstrike light bolts on it.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, you turn my regular stick into like a high tier magic item, you know, like incredibly strong, like ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
So like my walking stick became my main weapon for that weekend rather than the what do you call it, the psionic blade that I usually use. Because it got ritually enhanced, fucking badass.
Yeah.
And then of course he was like, I have 4 more. You know, and so Amon gave the stick over and boom, like same deal. Barrett's spear, boom, same deal. Like,
then we went to find Yuki.
Yeah, we found Yuki, got her dagger upgraded.
Yeah.
And we got Mick.
I
dagger,
gave Mick my dagger, and then I had to teach him how to use a dagger.
Yeah,
because he had, like, never used one before.
Oh, the little cupcake. Poor little baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we all like the Sybil cabin people, you know, like got all our weapons upgraded and stuff, which is sweet. It was really helpful against like everything later on. I think that was about the time that we did some other stuff. There's a little bit of like talking and walking around and getting some food and all that kind of thing. But then I got a whisper in my ear. They're like, I want to make a deal. Are you interested? And of course my response is, I don't know you. We'll meet up. You know? And he's like, where? This like voice, this disembodied voice nobody else can hear. And I'm like, he's like, where? I went, in the tree line over there, up the path. All right. And so of course I'm expecting a demon friend, you know. And I don't know if this demon friend is going to attack me or what. Like, I don't know if it's an ambush or what have you. Yeah. But I was, like, so ready to just throw down if I had to. So anyway, I turned to the others and I'm like, I have to go meet someone. And then I walk away. Because Barrett doesn't know I'm a witch at this point. So it's one of those things where I can't just say what I'm doing. But I know that Amon knows kind of what I'm doing. So I go out into the woods. And I wait a little bit. And then a demon appears before me with another demon bound and tied on the ground, like kneeling before him, right?
Yeah.
And so this demon that has this demon prisoner says to me, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I went, I don't know you. What's your name? You know, and he's like, you can call me Locus. You know, I'm like, all right, Locus. What do you have for me here? You called this meeting. You know? He goes, do you remember a certain demon that reneged on a bunch of deals that he made with you? Well, here he is. You know, like bound and tied on the ground. He goes,
like gift wrapped.
Yeah, like gift wrapped, exactly. Yeah. And he goes, I will let you do whatever it is you want with this poor soul. You know? Whatever you want. if you want to free him, that's your choice. You know, like all that kind of stuff. You can do whatever you want with him, but I need a favor. And I say, what's the favor? He says, there's a creature going around. You know him, I think. His name is Meat. And he's absorbing demon contracts. It's not a good thing. I'm like, okay. What do you want me to do about that? He says, well, we'd like you to kill Meat. And I went, well, why don't you do it? You're a powerful demon. You kill a mortal, surely. He goes, Meat's been eating demons recently. I don't really want to get close to him. I'm like, all right then. Now I know what I'm dealing with. I happen to know that Meat has several enchantments on him that make him almost indestructible. How do you want me to kill him? He goes, see, the thing is overwhelming force. It's easy enough to get him on the ground, and once he's on the ground, you just have to keep hitting him as long as you can. Elemental will be much better. You know, like that kind of stuff. Like, just crispify him until it is impossible that even infinite regeneration could help him. That's what I want you to do. Like, that's cool. I have Elemental Storm. I have Elemental Annihilation. I'm good, you know? So I'm like, all right. So you're asking me to kill Meat in exchange for this demon. I mean, you brought me something, but I didn't ask you to bring me that. So what I want is for you to improve upon this. And I give him the walking stick that the like club that Aeryn has that is already like souped up to the fucking max in divine magic. It's like so badass. And I hand it to him and I go, it's a divine relic. Make it last until I step through that Skyne gate, which by the way I still haven't.
It's true.
Just saying.
And that Skyne gate doesn't exist anymore.
I know. Make it last until I step through that Skyne gate. And it'll go away. But I like that I worded it that way.
Yeah.
Make it last until I step through that Skyne gate. And improve upon it in whatever way you see fit. It's a divine relic. I'm sure you'd enjoy doing whatever it is you do to it to make it better. You know? And he goes, okay. Yeah. I can improve this. It'll help you kill Meat. And then you can have the demon. I went, sounds good. You know, so I give it to him, and he goes, ritually improving 1, ritually improving 2, and he's just, like, turning it over in his hands and, like, you know, like, counting it out. And then he hands it back to me, and he goes, there's another +1 strength on it. So, it had 5 strength. Now it has 6, which means I swing it for 1 more. Yeah. So instead of swinging for 4s, I'm swinging for 5s, which is nice. I love it. Perfect. Nice little capstone on that, you know? And that 6 strength came in so much handy later. It's amazing how useful it was. But so anyway, I've got this newly improved mace, and now I have this demon in front of me, and I go, so now I'm gonna make you pay. The demon's like, fuck you! You know, like, those contracts were fine! I'm like, those contracts were shit. You know? And he goes, and the locust says, you can see he's been restrained, and we've bound his spirit to this plane. So, when you kill him, I'm assuming you will, when you kill him, then he'll die properly, rather than going back to hell. He has no place there anymore. Yeah. Very dramatic. Yeah. And I turned to Locust and I said, actually, I have one more thing to ask you before I go. Deal with this. Protection from the Mordegeist. What can you do for me? And he's like, I can't really protect you from the Mordegeist. And then it's too powerful of a being. Like, and the demon on his knees is like, if you let me free, he's got like this manic. If you let me free, I'll protect you. I'll personally. You know, like trying to like weasel out of it. Like if you let me free and you get rid of all these enchantments on me, you know, like I'll be your personal bodyguard. You know, I was really tempted. To be like, well, you agree to it. You're a personal bodyguard now. But then, like, having a demon walking around with me all event would be a little awkward.
Yeah, that would.
So he's like trying to weasel out, and I'm like, no. And Locust is like, I can't do anything about it. Sorry, you know. All right, fine. So he's trying to get out of his manacles, and he goes, with +0 strength, I try and break free, because he's like, all his demon strength is sapped, you know. And I went, oh shit. And I grabbed him by the throat and pushed him to the ground, and I was trying to be gentle with Blaine, obviously the NPC, but I tried to make it dramatic too.
Yeah.
And I pushed him to the ground. I'm like, with +6 strength, I choke you to death. 1, 2, you know, and I counted it out. I counted to 5, and Blaine was like, with unarmed it's 10. I'm like, okay, 6, 7, and he's like, you know, twitching and like being throttled on the ground, you know, and I let go of him, and there's this dead demon lying there, and Locust goes, are you done with him? And he went, no. And Locust went, okay. Life. Bring him back. He's like sits up again, and immediately I just went 5 magic and like clubbed him back into the ground, you know, and he's like on his back, and I'm beating him to death with a club. And he turns over and he's like, please, you know, and I'm like crushing nose with club 1, and I like caved his head in basically with a 6 strength club hits. And then I just left him, and I went, you know, deal with this refuse however you want. You know, if I have need of you, I'll call you again, and I'll kill meat for you when I get to it. Because he didn't say kill meat now, kill meat today, kill meat in this week. He said kill meat. I can do it 50 years from now, and it's still fulfill the contract. I am going to try and weasel my way with that Skyne Gate line, because that was a good line. It was a good line. I'm going to be like, so, when I made the deal... Denarthos would probably be mad at me, to be honest.
Yeah. It's true.
But anyway, so I'm like, deal with this refuse however you can. I'll send you a message once we've dealt with what we need to deal with. And then I went back to the team and said, like, I met with my people.
While you were talking, Sten, so by that time, Sten was there.
Yeah.
And was like, looked at Iman, and was like, talking with her and Bear. It's like, you sure you know what you're doing with that one? that sketchy one who's walking off to the woods?
I am sketchy, it's true.
Yeah. And Iman just kind of like nods, and Barrett's just kind of like eyeing the situation. Because Will out of game knows that Aeryn's a witch. Of course. Totally.
Of course.
But Barrett has no idea.
He only figured it out later because of some vampire shit. But I think that was the next thing, the vampires, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we I'm trying to remember, because we went to plot camp for something, and the vampires left the camp when we did that. Oh no, it might have been me asking about how we're gonna get off the island next.
Oh. No, I think the vampires were before that.
Were they before that?
Yeah, they were before that.
So, I remember seeing a bunch of people walk into town, near the tavern. And they went into the tavern, and it's a bunch of like black cloaked, black hatted, like fancy looking individuals, you know. And of course, we're thinking vampires from Alexander's army, of course, coming into town to like charm people and whatever. And so I mentioned it to everyone, and then we saw them walking over like the bridge, you know, with the raggedy one in the front. And he comes up to us, and he goes, "Who? I'm looking for Zaslamel." And we're like, he's not here, because he was like away on NPC shift. The players are away. He's not here. Then what was the other name? I don't remember. I'm looking for people who are in charge here. And so you step forward.
Well, you're looking for people who are important, and I'm like, oh, all right, don't want vampires running around. Sure, I'm important.
And so she steps forward. She's like, I'm important. And the vampire's like, well, see, here's the thing. Your little group is the last pocket of resistance in an otherwise easily conquerable island. So, because you're being so resistant, we're gonna need to kill some of your your ringleaders. I hope you understand. Did any of you volunteer?
Yeah.
To be killed in the name of Alexandria? And Amon's like, no. And so he's like, sorry, it has to be this way. And he's about to move forward to do something.
Yeah.
And Amon goes, Divine Ward, and like casts it, and he calls resist. But then you cast another one, right?
And he calls another.
And he calls another resist.
And then he casts another one.
And then you cast another one, and you pushed him out, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like this whole thing of like all the vampires started piling in and like doing stuff. There's like 8 of them, and vampires are a scary enemy, like really definitely a scary enemy. But like we were ready, we were ready, and we've got all these pumped up magic item weapons, and it all works against the undead. And I think they were a little surprised, And so we got into a bunch of scuffles. And the thing about vampires is once they're in danger, they're like mist form, and they just like mist form away, which is really annoying. Because some of them hang around for forever. But they just mist form away and float away and stuff. And so there was a lot of, like, once the big pack fought, they split off to, like, corners of the town and started doing stuff with, like, random other people. And most of our, engagement in that mod was following up on these things and, like, seeing one of them and being like, that's a vampire. Like, looking at him, he's unfamiliar, kill him. And, like, there would be moments where the vampire was, like, talking to someone all pleasant-like or whatever, and I'd go to Barrett and I'd be like, vampire, and Barrett would be like, okay, and, like, walk over towards it, and then just be like, boom, 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 with these huge, like, spear hits, and the vampire would be like, ah, fuck, and then, like, float away.
I think did the healing test a couple times.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, go up to someone, cast healing into them, and then they go, ah!
And then they're a vampire, Then they are the undead. So we did a lot of sort of like following up and torching these vampires, but vampires are strong and tough and they take a lot of hits. Barrett and I both used all the light bolts on our relic weapons on one vampire and he didn't die. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay then. Real strong vampires. But we dealt with it.
Yeah. And judiciously, like, found the ringleader and got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I managed to shatter skull him, actually.
Was it that one? I think it was a different one.
No, the brown one with the mask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because the other guy shatter skulled after reset.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because he was still around. But so the ringleader guy is like walking around by himself, and Amon spots him, and I'm like, okay. We like go to fight him, and he's about to get away, and I'm just like, fuck it, touch cast a shatter skull on his shoulder, and he just pops. Which is a great way to kill anything with a lot of health, because a death spell is a death spell is a death spell, And he falls to the ground, and we looted him, and he had like a necromantic amulet on him that none of us were ever gonna use. But it's a good little magic item to tuck away in my pocket. Which I used later. Not the power, but the item.
Found a use for the item.
We found a use for it, yeah. So we found like a necromantic thing on him, and we just kept our eyes out on all the other like vampires floating around after that. Then it was the determined stuff, I think.
Yeah, I think before then the Sky Mage showed up.
Oh yeah,
and I had a conversation with him.
Okay, well,
yeah. So Sky Mage shows up, this little goblin-y creature, and he's coming to inspect the Sky Gate. He said he'd show up the next day to see if things are going. So Iman goes over to talk to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna be shutting this down in 2 hours or so, like before sunset. This is done. Like we're going." And at that point, it's like, all right, then there's like. At this point, there's no other way off the island, except if you want to find a boat somewhere. So you'd have to like travel for a couple days to find somewhere that might have a boat, and then figure out how to sail it. And
Basically, our only exit was gonna get shut off. And we had no other backup plan.
Yeah.
Before that, and it was one of those moments where, like, I think that was a misstep, like plot wise.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they thought anyone would go through, but like the whole town was like, we should leave.
Yeah. There's no reason to stay, right? Like, why would you stay and fight overwhelming odds for a place that's...
For the place that's fucked anyway.
Yeah.
There's also lots of mentions of a prophecy that I never heard the full thing of or something.
There's also a draconic prophecy, so it's like,
so it doesn't matter.
cares?
Yeah, who cares? It's dragons. Yeah. But so we talked to the Sky Mage, or you did, and the Sky Mage said, we're going to shut this thing down before sunset.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy fuck, like, that's soon. I think that's when I went to ask for another way off the island.
Yeah, yeah, I tried as well. I tried to pray, be like, Sybil, yo, you got us?
You want to beam us out when it's time?
She's like, no, but there will be other ways. Okay. Yeah. They'll be expensive, but there will be other ways. So I was like, okay.
It's like, great. All right, well, I guess I'll ask.
Yeah.
So I went to Plot Camp and I talked to my little demon shaper friend. And I was like, Lee, I'm going to ask you, using this idol, how do I get off the island? I need a way off the island, and I'd like a demon to give it to me. And he's like, all right, well, for you, and I'm like, not just for me and 4 others, you know? And he's like, all right, well, for that, I'm going to need you to bring me the head of the stranger. And the stranger is like this big demonic being that has been around a bunch, and like, it's been spooky over the course of like the last couple of games and like the last season or so. And so what was it? I was like, that is a very expensive price. And if I can't do it before the Skygate closes, then I've lost my only other option. If I can get it for you before the gate closes, then we'll use that method.
Yeah.
If I can't, I'm going through the gate and I'm not coming back. You know?
Yeah.
He's like, that's fair. Consider it a deal. You know? All right, cool. Got a way to get off the island for me and 4 other people.
Yeah.
So yeah. That was kind of helpful. We needed the head of the stranger, which became a little problem, but I figured it out. What was the next thing? The detriment stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to tell this because it's like Vel and stuff? You know?
Yeah. So we were in the tavern. I think people were trying. Oh, Barrett was gathering people together to kind of like say like, hey, the Skygate's closing.
Do a meeting.
Here are your options. And by that time, I think like another option showed up where it's like, we could bring some ships if you want to pay us an exorbitant fee to carry you out of here.
Yeah.
So there was another.
There's another option, but the other option was like, give us all your magic items and then we'll get you to safety.
Yeah.
Like, huh. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, not everybody has those, right?
Yeah.
So that was going on, and then as people are gathering in the tavern, and an NPC, or sorry, someone who's NPC in the entire game knocks on the door and says like, "Let me in." We're looking at them. At this point, we're very suspicious because we just kicked some vampires out of the room. This person is someone we don't recognize, and Iman's at the door. It's like, Iman, it's me. I'm like, Vel. I'm like, all right. So the last time I'd seen this person as this character was about 3 years ago when he was the Savar. So he was like,
he looked a little different than he
yeah.
did before. Yeah.
And this person is someone that Iman kind of trusts.
Kind of trust.
Trust his intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure how he's gonna go about doing it, but we'll see. And she knows that he is a Darkweaver of Detriman. And it's good to see him. She did. So, of course.
Yeah, come in.
Yeah, come in. You're probably not working for Alexander. I don't know why you're still on this island. And yeah. So there's that little thing. But I think he walks in with an angel, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, Detriman's here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So she follows him around and is like, all right, the Dieterman, the god of secrets, are doing things. I have an in with Vel. I am following this. I am absorbing everything here.
Yeah, I want to see all the secrets.
Yeah. So he starts to find one of the vampires there, Casimir, and starts to talk about how, the vampirism needs to be removed from him.
Because otherwise they'll be controlled by Alexander.
Yeah. And Dieterman's willing to help with the ritual that would need to be defended and would need to be assisted in all these other things. And it's kind of like Casimir's weighing this really
heavy option.
Yeah, heavy option, right? And Casimir himself is like, oh, I can feel the madness taking hold of me too, and like going through all these things.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was one of those scenes where it's like two people in a closed room discussing kind of like the fate of their
like
character.
A small group of people. Yeah. And it was especially cool because it was, again, like another, like a narrative way to get rid of the vampire templates that were in game on these people and like make it feel like part of the story. And I'm sure they got some other stuff for it because that's the way it always goes. Like if you take something away, you're gonna give something. But so like they basically said, like, we need to defend this ritual, and we agreed to help. Of course, we're gonna defend the ritual to get rid of vampires. Of course, like we want you to be cured. Yeah,
and usually Amon would like kind of like be like, this is another god's business, but like if my old friend's asking me specifically,
and so we agreed to help defend the ritual, and so we went back to their cabin, and they're setting up the ritual and stuff, and we're standing outside like just waiting and stuff. And then a bunch of demons come rolling in. These big fucking demons come rolling in, asking for the blood of Kronos or whatever. And I think that's like a thing that they had for the ritual. And they're like, we don't want you, we want that, And we got in the way, obviously, and started killing these fucking demons. Demons are my specialty, so it's always fun to get up against a bunch of big demons. And
it was tough.
Some of the vampires were still kicking around too. Though they weren't really bothering with anything. And these demons were tough. They were strong, and we didn't have a lot of people, and there were a lot of demons. But we managed it. And I killed the ringleader, like the demon ringleader, and I looted him up, obviously. And I got a magic item off of him. I got a cup, and it's a demon horn drinking cup. And any blood that you put in it is preserved until you take it out of the cup or until it is until the cup expires. I was like, yay! It's really good.
One of the few people who that is relevant for.
Yeah, I'm like, witchcraft, thank you. Put that in my pocket.
I think one of my favorite things about that whole setup is that like the Dieterman people, so God of Secrets, they said like they led everybody to believe that the ritual was going to be happening in one place, and then they did it somewhere else. So all the demons were like, people are defending this area over here, we're going to go over here. It wasn't actually happening there. It was elsewhere, but all the focus was in a place that wouldn't, like, even if they broke through, there's a fallback. So that was I appreciated that.
It was like the fake out. The Dieterman fake out. So like, we were defending this, and the demons stopped coming before the ritual ended, basically. Like, we fought off, like, 2 or 3 waves of them. And, oh god, it was hard. Like, it was really tough. They kept, like, healing each other with fire and, like, generally being a nuisance. But it was fun. It was fun. I love fights like that. I love tough but fair. You know what I mean? I love hard but doable. That's my favorite kind of LARP fight. When I'm like, I don't think we're gonna win, and then we do. Or, like, I have to pull out my last-ditch maneuver, you know? Like, I don't want to use my level 9 spell, but I will, like, that kind of thing. It's always really cool. So we're standing around outside the Dieterman cabin where they're doing the ritual. And Casimir comes out, and he says, like, Aeryn, you don't happen to have 10 catalysts, do you? If you do, I will owe you 5 favors. Because he actually said to me, and this is one of my favorite lines of the game. Before he said this stuff, he was like, Aeryn, do you want to make a deal? And I was like, hmm? And he's like, no, just a deal between myself and you. You know, and I went, yes. Yes, I do. Like, I do want to make a deal. I want to feel like the demon for once, you know? And then what do you call it? And then he said, like, do you have 10 catalysts? And I'll owe you 5 favors.
Yeah.
5 is a lot of favors. Like, unnamed favors?
Yeah.
Done. You know, I'll take that deal. I give him, like, a bunch of catalysts I don't need, like, destruction ones, and, like,
throws one in.
the type we don't need. And, you threw 2 in or something, and we made the deal. And Zephyr was also like, I'll also, like, those favors, like, count me in on the 5, like, if you need me. Mm-hmm. And it's cool, like, and this was, like, so that he had a way to get his people off the island. Yeah. This was, like, a separate thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For the Determined Angel to, like, help them.
Yeah.
You know?
Bring them out.
Yeah. Which is good. I'm happy to help, you know? So we did that. Traded those catalysts in, and they finished their ritual, and a bunch of the vampires were no longer vampires. Though there was still, like, one who was a vampire, and also the Death Knight, who was still a Death Knight. Yeah. So that happened the way it happened. Because, like, people could refuse, you know, and be like, I don't want to be part of this ritual, I want to stay a vampire. But then Alexander's going to control you, because he's a really powerful necromancer, and he can control the undead with just his voice, you know? Be like, you control greater undead, kill your friends. Yeah. You know? It was that easy. Which is... it's annoying, right? So basically, like... I'll interrupt for this. Hi, Sedjak and folks. Hi there. I'm gonna keep going with the story though. Okay, thank you. So they solved their own shit. And we helped them out with the catalysts. And then the next thing I think was Alexander, right? Yeah. Because we went to plot camp. Yeah. To talk about the Sybil thing or like dark lore or something.
I was asking about the prophecy.
Oh yeah, the prophecy. Yeah. Right. So we went to plot camp to be like, hey, this prophecy is a draconic, like what's the deal? Yeah, like we ask Sybil, you ask Sybil about it. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And so that happens. Yeah. And then we go back into game without much answer, I think, for that time.
Yeah, it was like, I have an answer in mind. I'm gonna run it by some people,
and then we'll come see you. Yeah. That was when Arthur was like, I'll come find you. Yeah. All right. So then, as we were going back into game, there was an NPC walking down the road wearing a blue cloak. Yeah. And out of game, Siobhan and I were like, that's Alexander. Like, King Alexander, the necromancing badass king of death.
Yeah. Another thing about Alexander is that, like, he's a former... It used to be a player character.
Yeah, and it's like with Maddie in the stories I've told of her, like, being a lich now. You know what I mean? Like, she used to be my player character, but now she's an NPC character. Yeah. Same for Alexander. He used to be a PC, but now he's an NPC character. And the person who played the PC is playing the NPC.
Yeah. And there's, like, years of history of, like, bad blood and atrocities that this character has done that, like, I've kind of, like, picked up over the years. And my character's heard over the years. So it's, like, there's a lot of weight to, like, out of game, the name, and then out of game, like, that's him. Yeah. That's him right there. Just strolling into town by himself.
Yeah. But so we went back into game, and of course there's, like, a random person on the road, so we're like, you! And he's like, yes? You know, we made up with him, and like, where are you headed, you know? Well, of course, I'm getting out of here. We'll take you to the Sky Gate.
Yeah, it's closing soon. Like, you're out of time.
You're out of time. We gotta go now. Yeah. So we're walking with him. And we're thinking about headed through the Sky Gate ourselves, right? Yeah. So we're walking with him. And we bring him to the Sky Gate, and the stranger is there. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck. You know, like, I have to deal with this right now. Like, he's just standing there. Yeah. But then Alexander walks up to the Sky Gate and goes, like, activate Sky Gate, and, like, gates in a bunch of undead. Yeah. And then he turns to everybody and starts cackling maniacally, and he's like, you're all gonna die, basically. You know, like, that kind of shit. and so that happened. He activated the Sky Gate to bring in his reinforcements because we led him there, which is it's good. It was gonna happen anyway. But so my immediate priority was the stranger after that, because if the Sky Gate's been activated by Alexander, we might not get it back, which means I need the head of the stranger. If I don't have the head of the stranger, I can't get us off the island.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing I'm thinking is, I need to get the head of the stranger, and he's right there.
Yeah.
And
well, like, Iman had no idea that was the stranger. She'd never seen the stranger before.
Yeah, Aeryn had, though.
Yeah. So at that point, like, I had no idea what was going on.
So, Alexander saw the stranger too.
Yeah.
And was like, needed it for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but he immediately like laid into it and started like eating its legs and arms and stuff, and he was like killing it, you know? And these ghouls are running around and like scaring people and like attacking people, and there's like undead fight going on, and there's this like fear aura effect that means we can't get close to Alexander because he has horrid fear on and stuff. And so I'm like circling Alexander, eating this like stranger, you know, eating the stranger, and instead of trying to like attack him, I'm like, Alexander, you know, and he's like looks up a little bit, and I'm like, can I get in on that, you know? He's like, sure, and like beckons me over, and so I'm in the aura of fear, eating the head of the stranger because it's what I need. And I'm thinking to myself, if I eat it and then puke it up, it's still technically the head of the stranger, which is what the demon asked for. So this is the only way I'm gonna get it, because I can't kill Alexander because he's fucking indestructible. So I need to get it by like joining in on the horrible cannibalism of this creature. It's the only way I could figure it, right?
Just like have a nice meal with
King Alexander, yeah. So Alexander and I are both eating this like demon, basically, and it's a scene. It is a fucking scene.
Because Iman was freaking out. She thought you were compelled to do something, so she's like, I need to get you out.
No, I wasn't compelled. I was like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
You know? And Alexander had invited me into the horrid fear, so I was fine from the fear. I'm like eating this thing, and loads of people are like running in, and Alexander finishes eating, so he moves away.
Yeah.
And there's still enough left for me to keep going, because my count is still going. It's a 60-second count to like do anything substantial, you know. And so I'm at like 30 seconds by the time Alexander is gone, and I'm like, can I keep going? And he's like, oh yeah, there's plenty left, you know. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. So I keep going. Alexander moves away, and as soon as he moves away, other people come in, and they're like trying to get me off of the corpse, because they all think I'm like compelled, or like I have to be doing this, or whatever, like there's some effect on me, right? And so they're grabbing me, and they're being like, with +2 strength, I pull you up, I pull you away. And I'm like, with +6 strength, I resist, you know, and I keep counting. And then people are like, with +5 strength, I grab you and I throw you. With +6 strength, I resist, because I've got my club in my hand. And it gives me 6 fucking strength just holding it while I'm eating this corpse. And they can't get me off of it, because I know what I have to do, right? And the count's continuing, and the count's continuing. And then Adeline runs up and goes like, with +6 strength, I grab you and I throw you. And I'm like, with +6 strength, I resist. And then she doesn't let go of my clothes. Like, she's holding on to my robe and like pulling. And then she's like, with +6 strength, I throw you. I'm like, I turn around directly in her face and I go, with +6 strength, I resist. You know, and she's like, okay. You know, like, turn back to the corpse, keep eating. Listen to the calls that people tell you when they call them friends. And I finish this corpse, like the head of this corpse, which is what I needed, or enough of it that I'm like, fuck, you know. And I like stumble away from the fight at that point, and I'm like,
you're not looking real good.
Like collapsing, basically. I've just like gorged myself on demon flesh, you know. And I turn to Amon, like, when she comes up to be like, Aeryn, are you okay? And I turn to Amon, I'm like, I have to talk to Locust right now. You know, like, we gotta get this to him. And so I got my communication idol. I'm like, Locust, I'm gonna come and meet you, you know. And we went to plot camp, and I'm like limping the whole way, like holding onto Amon's arm, like puke facing.
This is like the only time that Aeryn has ever like needed to be supported.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I'm
at least as far as Amon's.
And I'm like really ill, you know. And we get to the plot camp, and we're like, we're gonna wait for Lee, you know, out of game. And Lee's like, okay, I'll deal with what I gotta deal with, and then I'll come back for you. You know, we're like, okay, so we wait here, and then he comes back, and he's like, all right, what are we doing? And I'm like, okay, here's the deal. We walk out into the woods after I call you. Yeah. We don't have to do this scene because I don't want you to have to get makeup on and like horns and whatever. Yeah. We'll just like elide it, and here's the narrative. You know, we go out into the woods after the Alexander fight, and I call you. I've called you, and we go and meet you, and the first thing I do is say, I have the head of the stranger, and then I vomit it up on the ground in front of you. And he's like, yeah, you see it kind of reforming, like the flesh is like pulling back together, and like it's enough together that it's like talking and spitting obscenities at you. Yeah, by the time it's like back, I'm like, all right, and I say like, I have the head of the stranger. Let me get my friends out of here. You know, like give me the power you asked. You told me you would give me. He goes, done well. Like picks up the gross head, you know, and like puts it on his belt, sort of thing. The head of the stranger is going to provide us with many secrets. You know, I'm like, good. Give me what I asked for. You know, and he's like, all right. He puts his hand on my shoulder and he goes, granting ritual once ever infernal walk for 5. You know, and I'm like, hell yeah. That's not what I said, but like in my brain I was like, yes.
There's a reservation for a table for 5 at Hell, like the restaurant of Hell.
So what this is this is the power that demon lords have to like walk out from Hell and back, like to travel through Hell. You know what I mean? It's like walking through a different realm. It's like planar shifting, you know, that kind of thing. So an infernal walk allows me to take myself and the 4 people that I've said, or 4 people. I didn't say specifically who. But myself and 4 people through Hell to whatever location we want to be. Basically. This is the power that, like, badass demons have. It's fucking cool. You know, and now me, the witch, Aeryn, granted it once. You know? It's pretty sweet. I'm into it.
It is great. And it's also such a cool feeling to be like, and later.
And we're out. Yeah. So I have that. And so now, even with the Skyne Gate broken and closed, we have a way to get out. Yeah. Which is
grudgingly accepted.
Which is what we needed, but the rest of the party is like, fuck.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find a different way. I'm like, it's already bought and paid for. It's not going to corrupt your souls or anything like that. I fucking ate ahead for this. No fucking gratitude. God.
There's gratitude. There's gratitude. Myself through, it just can't be spoken gratitude.
Put myself through fucking shit for this, and everybody's like, I guess. Fucking demons. Sten was the funniest. I'm like, Sten, I'm gonna get you out of here. And he's like, how? And I'm like, I'm gonna walk you through hell. And he's like, I don't think I want to do that. I'm like, fine, I'll leave you behind. Barrett's the only one who cares about you anyway. That's basically what I said. Like, if you don't want to be grateful about it, then fuck you. I didn't actually say it quite like that, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, yeah, grudgingly fucking. Your grudging acceptance of my fucking ritual level assistance is really welcome. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like, do you know what other people would give?
You know what I've been through for this? I ate a demon head for you. But yeah, so that was cool. That was like one of my personal scenes, you know, like, and I like doing demon stuff with. And the thing is, Lee is the shaper who what do you call it? Lee is the shaper who did the demon stuff for me before in Kalidor, and who had to keep telling me no. But it wasn't telling me no because he wanted to. It was telling me no because of ownership, right? Like, he was getting vetoed, basically. So it was really nice for him to be able to, like, with this new ownership, do the things he wants to do with me.
Yeah.
You know? And it was great to be like, Lee, you're doing a great job. You know, like, I really like this stuff, and I'm glad that, like, you're on board, sort of thing. And all that sort of thing. And it was nice just to be able to have, like, positive demonic interaction with a shaper who I know wanted to do that stuff but couldn't before. But yeah, so it's not bad. It's pretty good. Sounds iffy, yeah. Walking through hell definitely sounds like an iffy situation, but I know how Infernal Walk works and I know how demons do it, so it's one of those things where it's like, as a witch, she sort of gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If it happened on someone else, it'd probably be like, you're walking through hell, and that's not a safe time. Like, that's not a good time for you.
No. It was one of those things where what do you call it? Like, because I'm a witch, I probably would be able to do it, but if you gave it to, like, a peasant, they'd be like, and I ended up in hell and I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So what was after that? What was the next thing?
I think after that we started kind of like
was it
relax a bit.
Yeah, we took a break. We rested. We had a little like sleep.
Yeah, there's the looming threat of the Mordgeist.
That's true. Yeah, there was the looming threat of the Mordgeist, and the Mordgeist is like the elf killing demigod. He shows up every time a bunch of elves have been killed and kills more elves. That's basically how it works. But we had a foolproof plan for if the Mordgeist showed up, and the foolproof plan for if the Mordgeist showed up was turn myself into a toad. Then I'm not an elf anymore. So you don't want to kill me anymore.
And no one else was an elf because Aeryn was traveling.
And no one else, no one else in the cabin was an elf because I was traveling without my people. So all I had to do was protect myself. And Amon would hide the toad, I'm sure, you know? So it was one of those things where it's like, if the Mordecai shows up, toad, and then Amon would just pick me up and put me in a pocket somewhere. Safe.
Grumpiest toad.
Yep. It's pretty good. We didn't have to use that plan because the Mordecais didn't show up during the night or day, Saturday. But, you know, who knows? We might have had to.
Yeah.
I think
it's a good plan for on the back burner.
It's a good plan on the back burner, yeah. I think the next thing was the brood stuff. I mean, like,
that was late.
It was late, but, like, we did a lot of talking and, like, walking and chatting with people, and we tried to get the meeting together of, like, all the people, but we couldn't.
There was a Lacrima.
Oh, yeah, the Lacrima, but that was at the same time.
And the Fey Gate.
Oh, and the Fey Gate, yeah. So there was, the what do you call it? The Skyne Mage was closing all the other gates as well. So he closed the gate to the Far Realm. And
that was happening while we were eating.
Yeah.
So we showed up towards the end of that.
Yeah, we did. So we showed up towards the end of that. Because he closed the gate to the Far Realm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mayflies.
Oh yeah. You wanna do that one?
So all throughout the day we were having a lovely little swarm of bugs. So there started to be more and more bugs throughout the day. Usually there are mosquitoes, but this time there were hardly any mosquitoes, and instead there were swarms of mayflies. That there are so many that wherever you looked you could see little spots everywhere, and you started to hear them buzz, like that buzzing in the back of your head that like starts to drive people insane. That's the level of noise that was going on.
There were insane numbers of mayflies, like insane numbers of mayflies, like absolutely, like clouds of them, like swarms of them. Yeah.
And then I think so. The first time we were there, they started to get to a cacophony. Aeryn just like turns to him on with like the most carefree smile on her face, which is so strange to see on Aeryn. And just kind of like looks up at the buzzing and says, "This feels like home."
Yeah. Lots of buzzing insects and nasty bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
She comes from like a jungle climate, you know. It makes sense. I was like, it feels nice. It's nice to have that buzzing in the background.
Yeah,
it's very Aeryn. It's cool. Everybody else is like, fuck these bugs. I was like, shut up.
Yeah.
These bugs are cool.
Well, it's also like how you've described like how you think of like the wasp animus is just like that buzzing.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. The like the way that I play like the spirit that has been given to me, this like wasp spirit, is just like this annoying buzzing in the back of my mind. Occasionally when something important is happening. I'm like, shut up, I know.
It's like sensory Glomheart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else did we do before the brood stuff? So there's the Lacrima stuff.
The
Fake.
Fake, yeah.
So we there's this NPC who used to be a PC that played by our friend Kate called Lacrima, and she basically like is an important person. I don't know how to really describe her because I didn't have much interaction with her, but
yeah, she's like the secretly doing bad things to keep everyone else safe.
Yeah,
like
yeah. And so she came to like get some help from the Dark Elves and like go and rescue some of her people.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And so she was sitting at a table with a bunch of people, and like Barrett had been, what do you call it, like recruited to do this as well, because Barrett and Lacrima like have a lot of past.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to that stuff, obviously, because I wasn't around when she was a player and like that kind of thing. But like, yeah. So we were gonna come and help.
Yep.
We were gonna come and help.
Barrett had asked us like, "I need to do this. Are you with me?" Yes, totally.
Yeah, we're totally in for it. But when we got within Lacrima's presence, she didn't like him on, because I think she was a weaver of something. Dieterman, yeah. The secrets and like weavers of different gods, like there's a little friction.
Yeah.
You know, but she took it to the extreme where I was like, she's gonna stab him on over the table.
Yeah.
And so Barrett was like, you should go on that other thing. You know, and we're like, fine, yeah, we'll help the Sky Mage. You know, so we went down to the Fey Gate to close the Fey Gate so that nothing could get through or whatever. And there were only a couple of us down there.
Yeah.
It was like you, me, Zass, and May.
Yeah.
And like one other person who I didn't know.
Although it was just like you, me to start. It was
just the two of us, like going down to defend the Fey Gate while it was being closed.
Yeah.
And so it starts getting closed. The mage starts the ritual, and we're standing around, and I'm expecting something to happen. And then a bunch of arcane squirrels come running past us with this big horde of shit that they've stolen from everybody. And they run into the Fey Gate, and they're like, leaving through Fey Gate 1, leaving through Fey Gate 2, leaving through Fey Gate 3. They got this big haul of stolen shit, but I know that it's not mine because I'm carrying all my stuff. So I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. They can go through there and we'll seal it up.
It was like they had like a giant shield that they were using to portage.
Yeah, to portage all of these things. Yeah, but it was so good. So they ran past. They went through the portal. The one alone ran in and went through the portal.
Yeah.
And then like 3 minutes later, when there's only 1 minute left on the ritual to close the gate, this dude comes running up. He's like, "Did the squirrels come through here? I'm looking for. They stole everything I own." We're like, yeah, dude. Yeah, they came through here. They went through the portal. You didn't stop them? We're defending a ritual. They didn't attack us.
Also, they're arcane squirrels. They can do almost
anything.
Yeah.
So they went through the gate, and then this guy's like, "But all my stuff." We're like, "We don't care about your stuff." He's like, "But I'm gonna die." You're gonna die? Something keeping you alive with your stuff? And he's like, "No, I'm fucking naked." Like, you are gonna die. Well, if you want to go through the Fey portal after them, you have 30 seconds, and then it is closed forever. So you'll have to find your own way back. He's like, grumble, 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 and then walks away.
Yeah.
The gate closes. And as soon as the gate closes, these Fey walk in.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of gremlins.
Yeah.
An arcane gremlins, it's a bunch of arcane gremlins and an arcane goblin.
Yeah.
Now, arcane goblins sound like they would be like whatever, but they are really, 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 really scary. They have like the power to do pretty much anything.
Yeah.
They're just like power word point, whatever. Yeah. Power word area, whatever. Like they can control stuff with magic just because they want to. Mm-hmm. Arcane gremlins, on the other hand, just like running around breaking shit.
And eating magic.
Yeah. So they run around and they break stuff and eat magic, and they're really annoying.
Yeah.
But it's okay because, again, all my stuff is on me. If they want to break it, the only thing they could break is my weapon, but it's indestructible because it's divinely enchanted.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it. I was like, okay, little gremlins, it's cool, you know?
They're usually alright if you play along and distract with them, yeah.
So the arcane goblin comes out and he goes, "Why are you messing with my gates?" You know? And I'm like, fuck. You know, like,
and the Sky Mage disappears. Like, he's like, oh no, later. He's just, bye.
I'm out. Boom. Gone.
Yeah.
You know? So the arcane goblin walks up and goes, "Why are you messing with my gates?" And I'm like, we'll talk about this. You know, like, I want to tell you why. And all the gremlins are making a lot of noise, and they're being like, ah ha ha, smashing stuff and wrecking things and whatever. And they're like, we'll go to the tavern. I bet there's stuff up there in that building. Let's go check it out. And the gremlins are like running a little bit. And then the arcane goblin goes, "Good idea. We'll go to the tavern. Power word area, arcane, race to the tavern." So everyone who hears that has to race to the tavern because that's the magic of arcane goblins. So we ran with the gremlins to the tavern and tried to like get in because the race was to the tavern and they wouldn't let us in the door. But then we got to the door and we're like, no, wait, we're here. It's fine. We're compulsion over. You know? And we went inside and the gremlins were making a lot of noise and smashing stuff because that's what arcane gremlins do. And one of them was like, "You have any candy? I really like some candy." And I'm like, "I'll get you candy. Don't worry. You'll have candy. You have to go over there." He's like, "Okay." And he follows me over there. And I get like a wagon wheel from the tavern with my tavern credits. And I give him the whole thing. And he's like, and he grabs it. And he runs off to a corner of the tavern. And you can just hear the crinkling of the wrapper as he like shoves it in his face. When he comes back over, he's like, you know, like with all this stuff in his mouth. Like, glad you like it. Yeah, good. Don't bother me. Like, you just got to appease them. You got to appease the gremlins, and they leave you alone. Of course, that gremlin was harassing Mick the whole time.
That was funny.
Give me that! No, give me that! Just chasing him
as Mick was eating. Yeah. Mick is also like a small child, so it's like two children running around, like arguing.
Anyway, while they were all arguing, I tried to talk to the arcane goblin because arcane goblins are super strong, and we might need their help for defeating Alexander. I thought, you know, that might be a good plan. So I started talking to the goblin, and he's like, "Why are you messing with my gates? I don't like it when people mess with my stuff." I'm like, "Well, there's a giant undead army marching on us, and we're the last living bastion. You like living people better than dead people, right?" And he's like, yeah, I do actually. I'm like, good. So we closed the gate so that they couldn't come through it. And we're not saying that you would let them through, of course, but I am saying that the Fey realm is wishy-washy in terms of like actual geography and like the way that things work. So they might have been able to find a way through. So it's better just to close it. Also, we didn't want them going in the opposite direction through the gate into the Fey realm. Yeah. Not that I think you couldn't handle it. He's like, well, of course. You know? And I did a lot of like, you're very powerful. I get that. You know, type stuff. Because he could have just been like power of death, like if he'd wanted to.
Well, he was very powerful.
Very powerful, you know, and he liked the flattering, so I kept doing it, you know. And he's like, "So you have a problem?" And I went, "Yes, we do." And he went, "What do I get for presenting possible answers to your problem?" I'm like, "Just to have the conversation?" Like, "Yes, just to have the conversation." "Well, I'll give you this." And I took out the necromantic amulet. Yeah. It's a magic item. Doesn't last very long, but I'm sure you can do something about that. He's like, "Done." and like takes it, and it's like the item disappears.
Yeah.
You know? All right, now we're having a conversation with an arcane goblin. Good. I love making deals. Deals are my life. So I'm sitting across from the arcane goblin, and we're trying to figure out like how we can help each other. You know, and he says like, I've got no vested interest in you. You're gonna have to make it worth my while. Like, I don't care what happens here. It's not important.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back in the Fey Realm.
Yeah.
And the Fey Realm is gonna be unaffected by your bullshit. You know? And I said, well, we only need some... Alexander is a very powerful mage, and he uses illusion magic, which is your magic.
Yeah.
Fey magic.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
He's like the last one.
Like, we don't want him to use that. And the fact that he's using it is, quite frankly, insulting to you. He goes, You're right. I'll tell you what. I have an idea. Originally, he was like, well, you have two big problems. You have the Mordgeist and you have the thing. You have one fight the other.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? That's impossible. You know?
Yeah.
He was like, fair enough. And he goes, I can give you something that will lower Alexander's defenses, allowing you to actually hurt him. I'm like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I'll take that. You know? He goes, but you gotta make it interesting for me. Like, I need you to give me something for that. I'm not just gonna give it to you. But, all right. Anything you have in mind? And he's like, I can't think of anything that I would want. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, I'll leave it to you. And you need to come up with something interesting before I gather up the gremlins and we head back.
Yeah.
I'm like, fair enough. We'll be here. Come see us. I'll have something interesting for you. He's like, good. And while I was having this conversation, a bunch of other stuff happened. Like, the gremlins were messing with people. And then, like, people were yelling at the arcane goblin, being like, get your shit under control and stuff. And he was like, while he was looking at me in the eyes, he'd be like, power word point silence. Like, you know, like, just stop talking to me. You know, like, while he's, like, having this conversation. So I'm like, this is a good conversation. I'm gonna be very polite. Like, yeah. Yep. That's how it went.
Yeah. And then he wanders off.
He wanders off into the town.
Yeah.
And I go to gather his gremlins.
Yeah.
And I walk over to the table with all the people at it and go, so we need something interesting for the goblin, and he'll give us something that will lower Alexander's defenses. Yeah. And we're all trying to think, and we can't come up with anything super good. Yeah. And then, like, Krima...
Yeah. Well, they were back.
They're back from their whatever they were doing, and they came back and they sat down. Lacrima was talking with people. Lacrima goes, "What about my shard?" And I'm like, "Are you sure? Like, you'll die."
Yeah.
You know? A shard is like the elven soul, you know. So she's like, "What if I give my shard to him? Like, sell my soul to this fae?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Are you sure?" And she goes, "It's to kill Alexander, right?" I'm like, yes, it is. Exactly to do that. And she goes, yeah, then I'm sure. I have to go down to the boats and, like, say goodbye to my people and make sure they get the sword and, like, other stuff. But, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, and also the thing for Lacrima is, like, Alexander is the one who, like, stripped out all of the power that was, like, keeping her alive.
Yeah.
She's something like 2,000 years old. And with Alexander killed her. She's just on her
last legs, so it's kind of like a final fuck you.
Yeah.
So that was our plan. So I was like, okay, that's the plan. So I went to talk to the arcane goblin.
Yeah. When he came back, like, a while later, he was gone for a while.
he was busy with, like, some other stuff. And when I went outside to, like, see where he was, remember we saw him walking with Rand and Isabella? And then he raged Ren to fight Isabella, and there's that whole thing. There's a bit of scuffle. And then we spoke to him, obviously, and I said, like, would it interest you... Would the shard of an elf interest you? He goes, well, yes, it would. Yes, that's a good price. Come talk to the person who's going to give it to you. He's like, all right. We go in, and and they talk a little bit and like make the deal. And I try to be like, and you're gonna bring it to me because she's gonna be dead. Like, let's not fuck this up.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. He's like, all right. And all that kind of happens. I can't remember why I left after that, because I feel like I left to do something, or maybe it was just to get dinner.
I think he left.
I mean, he left, but then so did I. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Did we go looking for him, or
No, I think we just.
I think we just went to go get food.
Yeah.
Right. So we went to go eat dinner. When we came back, they're like, "Yeah, we got the thing, and the Vesmerites have it now."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" Like, I made the deal. I bargained for like an hour. You know, because I shortened it, of course, for you guys. I don't want to sit here and tell you all the details. But I was really upset by that. Aeryn was like, fucking giving powerful items over that I bargained for. Didn't get anything for.
Yeah.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
My understanding also is that he was bargaining with the Vesmerites.
Yeah,
and he got stuff out of them.
I mean,
and
I don't know anything about
yeah.
that.
Oh, that's what Iman like heard about that in game.
Okay.
Like that's what she heard.
Okay.
And, yeah. So it's like Fae.
Yeah, Fae. They're not as reliable as demons. People talk about Fae like they're okay, but it's really demons that'll keep their word. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
But yeah, so we got an item that allows us to strip the power of Alexander, obviously, which is good. It's good. It's what we needed. Then we got a mission from Sybil.
Yeah. Felt this thing in my head that said like Sybil's letting me know that there's something very important underground. And then Ren comes in and starts talking to some other people about, there's some brood hybrids that are orcs that are taking over the spider caves. Spider caves.
Yeah.
This is it.
We have to go underground to fight a bunch of orcs that have turned themselves into half-brood using a brood thing. Great.
And also an amulet of the Valkyra, which is an older Kalidor thing that's like, it's cool to really see that like in continuation because like, I don't know, it's got some years of history of being a bit like, kind of like the person who has the amulet is the Valkyra, and the next person gets all of the Valkyra's powers.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So it's been passed through generations of orcs as like the war leader. So the fact that they're now trying to merge this amulet with Brood Queen and get all the powers of a Brood Queen, in addition to the powers of the Valkyra.
It's bad. It's a bad time. It's a bad situation, right?
Yeah.
So we had to go underground and like go into the tunnels and fight these brood orc hybrids. But Rend was being like really riled up about trying to like gather people for it. And he like goes to me, and I can't remember what he said initially, but we got to this point where he's like, this is everything else we've ever fought pales in comparison to this. And I look him dead in the eyes. I'm like, what about Alexander hours ago? And he goes, even Alexander. I'm like, you're an idiot. And then he starts getting angry, and he's like, well, then don't come and help. I'm like, I'm going to help, and you're going to calm down, like, or we're gonna fight, and I'm gonna win, that kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't mean to take a tone, like that kind of thing. And I'm just frustrated, like, I'm trying to gather people, and nobody's coming. And it was like a pretty small group, like, by comparison.
Yeah. I think it was very few of us.
But so we gathered up for it, and we went into the tunnels, and
before we went in, I got another little voice in my head that said, like, not likely that everyone's going to make it back out.
Yeah.
All right, so going into this with, like, Barrett was there, so it's like, all right, so Barrett, Aeryn, keeping my eye on them. We're getting out of this.
I left all my items in the cabin.
yeah, same.
Yeah, so that, like, if we died, we wouldn't lose all our stuff in an unretrievable cave.
Yeah, I stashed some stuff in the tavern before we left. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the thing. We went. It was like the pitch black of night when we went out, and the way we got into the tunnels was like we went down a road and then across a field and then down another road and then back on another road. Like we didn't actually go underground, but it was one of those things where it was like we used the roads and like repeated some routes that like made it windy tunnels sort of thing. But it was so dark. It was so dark. And I think we ran into these orcs, and then they're like, you know, get out of our cave or whatever. And we're like, no. And then we fought them.
Yeah.
And they were really tough. It was a really, really tough fight.
Yeah.
It's always hard for me to narrate, like, LARP fighting and, like, how tough it is.
Yeah.
But I was swinging for 10 magic because I hate Brood.
Yeah.
And I just assumed they were all hybrids.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see. I was swinging for 10 magic, and that was nothing. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they just ignored it, basically.
They're also immune to a whole bunch of spells.
They're immune to a whole bunch of stuff that they're usually weak to, which,
Yeah.
you know, for some reason Brood always are, which is, like, really annoying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not cool when there's a racial weakness of a thing and everything that has that weakness is also immune to it for some reason.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. It's like, okay. But so there's these like orc hybrids, and then there's this big monster Brood thing at the back that's like the Brood Queen thing.
Yeah.
And it's got like one NPC is playing its claws, and another NPC has got this big spear playing its like stinger tail, which is super cool. I really like that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like scorpion-like.
Yeah. And we fought a bunch of the orcs off, and then we set a bomb.
Yeah.
So there's this gnomish bomb that one of the players set. Beep, like, and we all had to run like really quick, and it exploded in elemental fire and whatever. It didn't seem to do very much, which is a shame. But we fucked off down the path because we're like, okay, well, it's dead.
Yeah,
you know?
well, let's go. Like, out of here. That's the plan.
Yeah, run. And of course, someone got caught, and then everybody else turned around, and I'm like, no, like. Oh, we can't stop to rescue every motherfucker. Like, we're gonna get overwhelmed. It's a tunnel. There isn't really anywhere to go.
Yeah, they were hitting us really hard before. The bomb was the last ditch effort. And it was the person who set off the bomb who
got caught. Yeah.
So the person who was like, I accept the responsibility of bomb.
Yeah. Anyway, it was this whole thing, and we kept backing out. We kept going back in. We kept backing out. We kept going back in. It was this like bullshit. Make up your mind what we're fucking doing situation. And it was tough. It was a really tough fight. It was super hard. And eventually we got it down to like 2 of the orcs and like the one big monster. But holy fuck, that monster was like indestructible. I hit it with, and I am not kidding, everything. I had 0 spells left after the fight. I even used all my defenses. I'd like use a defense, then step in front of it, then eat a hit, and then back up. Like, I had 0 spells left by the end of the fight. Nothing.
And there was
absolutely nothing.
Little whispers of like people, like gods stepping in and like giving people little
boons and stuff.
Like, I got to be like, Avatar! Yeah!
Yeah, so she didn't memorize her Avatar spell, but she got a free one. And then a free 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing was really, really strong. And, like, basically we kited it all the way back through all the tunnels, all the way to the tavern.
Yeah.
And it, like, followed us all the way up, and then a bunch of other people, like, saw what was happening and joined in and stuff. But, like, my God. This thing ate damage for breakfast. It must have had the most health of anything I've ever fought. Like, I hit it with every spell.
Yeah. I can't.
And it just kept resisting too.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to stop resisting so I could throw a Shadow Skull at it.
I was waiting for it to stop resisting as well, but it just never did. Yeah. Even like with the little spells, it's like 10-second blind. Oh.
Resist. Yeah. Okay. How many resist does it have? Because this is starting to feel like no effect.
Yeah.
We've hit it like 18 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing was crazy. The face when a party kites the boss back to town. Yep, I mean, pretty much.
At 3 a.m.
At 3 in the morning, yeah. It was fucking late and dark and, like, really dramatic. So we fought this thing, and eventually we killed it.
Yeah.
It was so satisfying. To be like, and we killed it, and we cleansed the corruption, and good, you know?
And it also erupted in, like, acid.
Oh,
so, like,
no.
everybody, like, just falls over, and everybody's scrambling to try and, like, get people back up.
Yeah,
that was a little nerve-wracking.
A little tense. I was worried my contingency was gonna go off before they got the healing hands off because they were taking a fucking long time about it. But it was like I was at like 49, when they did it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried because I'd get back up anyway, but I'd waste my last contingency.
Yeah.
So, cool. Yeah. So we did that. It was super fun. There was a lot of like, where's Amon? Where's Barrett? Okay, they're both okay. Where are they again? Okay, they're both okay. Okay, Barrett's down. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna get in front of him. I'm gonna call him on over, like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of like, our group tactics.
Yeah,
you know.
And like also Yuki came back from patrol, like, and found us in the cave because she heard the commotion. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. She just like showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this big brood thing that we killed. What else?
I think after that we just like...
We went to bed after that. We were unconscious after that.
Oh, I also made Yuki part of the braid.
Yeah, and also Barrett found out about my witchcraft.
Oh.
But that was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, that was earlier.
But like, so Barrett didn't know I was a witch, but saw me cast a spell that wasn't a spell that was psionics. And so Iman had to have a private conversation with Barrett about my witchcraft. How did that go?
It was really intense.
I was sitting on the porch of the cabin while the two of them were talking about me inside. By the way.
So Aeryn was like, Barrett knows, and Iman's like, all right, I was like, I need to talk to him. It's like, all right. So we're in the cabin, and I open the door, and Barrett's like taking off his armor, and it's just like he's got this serious look on his face, and it's just like. It's kind of like an awkward start, and he just goes like, how long have you known? Or did you know? Yes. How long have you known? And it's like, about a year?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you tell me? Why do you know how I feel about demons? And then it's like, I know that you don't like demons. Like, Barrett, like, historically, I think it goes through, like, him talking about, like, his past as a Kalite, as someone who will be, like, we burn witches at the stake because it's a mercy.
Yep.
And, like, there is no happy ending to being a witch. It's like, you are, like, witches eventually become demons, and then that's not good. Like, there's no way that is a good thing. And he's like, I'm worried about you, but... also, and then he said the line where he's like, I feel betrayed because like you asked me to be part of this family with a witch. And Iman's like, my heart.
Oh no.
And then Iman's trying to explain why Aeryn is this like huge special exception, because Iman also agrees with everything that Barrett is saying. Like, witches are bad, demons are bad. It always escalates and it always turns into a situation that is never going to work. Like, demons will offer you a deal, but the deal will always make everything worse. Unless you can, like, stay ahead of it. And Iman's, like, trying to explain how she knows this. She knows that eventually it's going to catch up. But Aeryn keeps on staying ahead. And she believes in Aeryn. And, just emotions and feelings. And he's like, I want you to be happy. I'm going to put this part of me aside and be like, and I will accept Aeryn as part of the braid. And I think
friendship.
There's this like turning point where he was asking about Aeryn, and Aaron's like, okay, so Aeryn says that she fights demons and stuff like that. Like, what has she done? Tell me the things. And it's like the turning point, I think, was like last 2 weeks ago with Sigrid. So there's this witch of the same patron. So they're like working for the same demon. Who we were involved with and trying to solve a problem with, and she didn't do what she said she would. So when Iman found that out, and she found that out by herself, she rose up and like just immediately struck Sigrid, like started attacking Sigrid.
The story of that is in last week's, or not last week's, but the last story that we, by the way. Yeah, and then Aeryn immediately just jumps in without a second, like without hesitation, anything like that. It's like, I've got you. Like, let's do this. And then after that, had the conversation. And so it's like, that I think got Barrett to be like, all right. She's still, like, her priority is still her people. And that's enough for now. Kind of thing.
At least that's the vibe I get. He didn't say any of these things, but just kind of like what Iman's.
Yeah, and then you came out of the building, and I was like wondering what was gonna happen, right? Barrett's looking at me with these like big serious eyes, and he walks down the stairs towards me, and I'm standing there, and he's like, "Come here," and gets me this huge like hug, big fawn hug, and I've got like my arms to my sides. I'm like, what the fuck? Because like Aeryn does not like to be touched, like that is the thing that she does not enjoy. And I'm like, is he gonna crush me to death? Like, he's like, no, like we're family or whatever. And I'm like, stop touching. And he's like, no, I got you. And I'm like, ego whip. Like, he flinches away, like, ah. And he goes like, no, I'm okay. Comes back in for another one. I'm like, fuck. And eventually lets go. And I'm like, and it says like, I accept you. Like, I accept you for as part of the braid and like as a member of this family sort of thing. And I'm like, good. It's way easier now. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, after the brood stuff, we went right to bed.
Yeah.
Because it was late. And then unmercifully early in the morning, there's a knock on our door that's like, Alexander's coming, you got 10 minutes. And we're like, fuck! It's so early! We haven't slept enough. And we like pull the sheepskin off that we like fall out of bed and like put our gear on and get ready to go. We step outside. I'm like, if Alexander isn't here in 15 minutes, I'm killing Casimir.
Yeah.
But so we wait and Alexander shows up.
Yeah.
And it was pretty early that this all happened because we ended pretty early. We ended like 11 or something. But Alexander showed up with his army and everybody's like backing away and like, there's this big thing and then there's the Mass of the Angel Heart activated by Zas, which is like we all get super buff and like are ready to fight while Zas is talking. It lasted all of about 20 seconds because Zas got magicked, which sucked.
Yeah.
But
and that's kind of like, so we were breaking and falling back. Then there's a Mass of the Angel Heart. It's like, all right, yeah, maybe we can do a little bit.
Maybe we can damage something.
Yeah. And then...
But everything on that line was impossibly strong. Like, all of it.
Yeah.
It's like Generation 1 vampires. And, like, the first volley of the fight was charm, dominate, dominate, dominate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, there's half our fighting force. Join the other team. Great! Right. That kind of thing.
And then...
No, it was Angel Heart. Garillion, because Lionheart is one person. Angel Heart is the group.
Yeah.
So, I am right! But so there's a Mass of the Angel Heart, and we all got buffed up, but it was only for about 20 seconds before Zas got taken out.
Yeah.
Which sucked, because as soon as that happened, everybody broke. And I mean, rightfully so, we were getting hit with insane numbers. And like, Barrett went down and then was raised as a ghoul.
Yeah.
Yuki went down and was raised as a zombie.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, we gotta do something. Yeah. And I got hit with a living nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm like freaking out in the corner, being like, "Oh God, we're all gonna die," sort of thing.
So Zimon's like, "All right, Tarn,
dispel,
please." Yeah.
And so I got dispelled by Tarn, and then I was okay. And then Amon was like, "We have to go," and I went, "You're right, we do." And so we're looking around. We're like, "Where's Barrett? Where's Barrett? Fuck," And he's like a ghoul, killing people and whatever. I'm like, "All right, we can deal with that. We can still bring him. We just have to touch him."
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So, Iman, get ready to get Barrett. I've got Yuki, and Yuki's got Sten. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Get ready. Infernal Walk 1, Infernal Walk 2, Infernal Walk 3, whoosh, and we're out. Like, through hell with a puff of sulfur,
Yeah.
And so we're dragging an unconscious Sten, Yuki at, like, no HP.
No, she was a zombie.
She was a zombie, but she had got Sten.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not exactly sure. But
no, Sten was down.
Yeah.
And then Yuki was down as well, I think, but she was like zombied or something?
No, she was dead because we put her down as a zombie before we went.
Okay.
So I just like put her hand on Sten.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But so then we went.
Yeah.
And and then we were out of game and we watched everybody get massacred, basically.
Yeah.
It did not go well. Even with the stuff we had to stop Alexander, he was really too he was too strong. And it wasn't about him being too strong, it was about the whole group of them being like, I've got something in my eye that's killing me. But it was about the whole group of them being really, really tough. Really tough enemies. So we were out of game, and we sat out a game for a little while. And then like, you know, we said to a shaper, like, we Infernal walked away. And she was like, oh no, but like, hang around. We like, I want you to be here to see this and stuff. I'm like, okay. So we're in limbo.
Yeah.
You know, like, I haven't landed anywhere yet.
Yeah.
And then the end of the game was the Mordecai showed up. Like, people got onto the boats to, like, escape. Those who were still alive. Those who were dead were dead. But people got onto the boats to escape. The Mordecai showed up. Couldn't attack the boats for some reason. I don't know why. And then started attacking Alexander. And then Alexander and the Mordecai fought for, like, no reason that I could possibly see. And then Zas was obliterated by the Mordegeist. And then there were no elves left on the island, apparently. And then the Mordegeist, like, left, I think. And, like, sucked all of the Alexander and his army into, like, the Mordegeist's void prison with him, which is cool. And then the Dragon Illustriac, who is the island, woke up, and the island shattered and broke as the ships, like, flew into the sky. Flying ships, apparently. Yeah, so that was the end of the game. Our game ended in travel. Basically, like, we were Infernal walking when the game ended. And then we landed in Zenith Strand, and I got everybody healed. It's fine. Everybody's fine. I found the ending to be a bit of an anticlimax myself. The only reason I say this being that it wasn't very interactive. It would have happened that way no matter what we did. The island was going to break. The Mordegeist was going to show up then. And Alexander was probably going to survive because he's fucking strong as fuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't really sure what else we could have done, right? I like mods that are harsh but fair. The Brood mod is a really great example of, like, we can kill it, but it's going to take us everything, you know? Whereas the End mod was like, and you're all dead in, like, the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Charm, dominate is a pretty strong opening barrage.
Yeah, it's like, it's alright. Like, I'm fine with, like, there's a difference between, like, going into a mod. It's like, yeah, we're gonna lose. Like, this end, we're gonna lose this fight. Sure. And I think, like, we all knew that.
We were gonna lose, but it would have been nice to, like, take Alexander out or something, and then, like, the army surge in.
Or at least, like, have some pacing to it, if you know what I mean.
Like a bunch of small stuff in that we could, like, fight first, and then the bigger stuff, and then the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And then, that kind of thing.
Because then there's, like, a chance to be like, okay, you get to, like, experience defeat, as it were. It's like, we can do this instead of just being
steamrolled.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, like, Sunday was a wash for me, basically. But that's okay. Like, the rest of the game was quite fun. And it's hard to end something and start something new, right? Yeah. It's hard to have, like, a good ending and a good start to a new thing. Because what they're doing is they're setting up for their new game, which is going to be Underworld Gallardane, like, their franchise, you know what I mean? Like, that's starting new, their next game. Yeah. You know?
So this is what I was, like, what Amon was trying to push for, like, in game, like, at one moment when we were presenting all the options. It's that, right, we still had the Skygate, and these people from Gallardane showed up, and they're like, hey, we're willing to take you. It's like, all right, so why are we here for a lost cause? Let's take the Skygate to Gallardane. Everyone here, let's just go to Gallardane. Why not? We can do this.
Yeah. But nobody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Lots of people did, but it was one of those options that was like, if we do that, Plot will freak out.
but those are the best kind of freakouts, I think. It's true. From my time in Plot, it's just like when players start doing something like crazy like that, it's like, yes.
But yeah, there you go. Yeah. That was kind of how the game ended. Now let's talk about good stuff, bad stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. I really like the way the game ran in general. I got some very cool demon stuff and, like, sort of an apology for bad demon stuff that they didn't have to do. That was very nice of them. Very cool. I got to talk to a lot of strong creatures. I mean, we talked with Alexander. We talked with the Arcane Goblin. I talked with demons. I prayed to Sybil. There's a lot of like me talking to strong stuff, which is cool. I'm into that. And the brood mod was like really relevant to what Aeryn cares about. Killing brood, purging their existence from this land is like 90% of what she does. So that's, well, 20% of what she does, because the other 80% is demon stuff now. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Technically, I had dinner with Alexander. It's true. Yeah. It was an early dinner, but it was dinner. Yeah. I really liked all that stuff. I really liked the way that went. The last mod was a big raspberry on the event to me. Because it felt like when you lose in a cinematic, but also the consequences of losing in that cinematic were real and dire. You know what I mean? Like, you know that feeling when you're playing a video game and then you lose in a cinematic to a boss you can't possibly defeat? And you're like, oh, that's okay. Like, I'm meant to lose.
Yeah.
And like, that's fine. It's a meant to die fight, right? It's a meant to die fight, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. But when the consequences for dying in the meant to die fight are that you lose all your items and you take a death and everything explodes on an island that a dragon ruins, it's no good to me. It's no good to me. If there had been like a consequence-free way to lose, if you know what I mean, it would have felt a little better, because then it would have felt like a cinematic, right? And I would have been like, okay, like these people died and their spirits are here, and then something happens to the spirits, you know, like that'd be cool. But from what I saw, it was, now I have nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, now all my things have exploded on the island.
Well, I think the thing that gets me is that it felt like a lot like consequences without motivation to care about them.
That's the other thing, yeah.
Like,
why did we want to kill Alexander, other than like a couple of people's personal motivation to do it? Like we should have just left 2 days ago and let him have the island.
Yeah, and it's like...
And then the island exploded, so it doesn't matter either way.
It kind of makes me wonder about stuff like... I don't know, because I always have to ask the question to myself, like, would my character leave, or am I just staying here because I paid money to play a LARP, and we're here? And that having that kind of conversation is rough. But having that conversation and then, like, trying to find the answers, because a lot of people are trying to find answers, like, give me a reason to stay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if many people got that, or if they had to like try and find something themselves, which when you're walking into a very dangerous situation, I think that's a time
to have a reason. Yeah, I would say that you're pretty right. You're pretty right about that. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, I wasn't sure of the motivation to be there, and I think that's why there weren't very many people there. Because why? You know, Alexander is a name that, while it is like lore important, it's not personally important to very many people. Like, to be honest, I showed up because I wanted to like support Kalidor in their first event. I wanted to support the new franchise owners in their first event and like be there and like support them. You know, and like be like, yeah, you got the thing. Let's do some cool stuff. But like in character, my only reason to be there was Iman. And
Iman was like, Zaz asked her to go, so it's like, she'll go.
I also feel like being like, I'm going to turn the Sky Gate off on Saturday afternoon was a huge blunder. If they'd been like, we'll turn it off at the last minute as you all escape through it, you know, like, and whatever, like, that would have been like, everybody would have been like, all right, we're going to stay, we're going to fight, and we're going to escape through the Sky Gate at the last minute. We're going to run for the Sky Gate.
I actually think that closing it was a good move, because then it stopped giving people the option and they could relax about that.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I think they should have closed it earlier if that's what they were going to do, because the limbo of like indecision and looking for a reason and not having it, and having like 6 hours of like, do I want to drive home?
Yeah.
That's tricky, but hey.
I mean, what do you do, right? Yeah. The game was fun overall. Like, we're griping specifically about some stuff, but like I had a good time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, I think one thing that I really want to highlight is that like it was very fair, like when interacting with Claude and stuff like that. These are kind of like design things, so like grand overarching like design stuff, which we can like argue about because that's all like opinion and stuff like that. But in terms of like execution and treating players fairly and like the game running smoothly and safety and all that stuff, like it was great.
There were some choices I didn't agree with when we were talking about like where was an in-game or out-of-game space at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And bathrooms being an in-game space is a horrible idea.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And it muddles the lines a little bit. And I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but like there are some new rules and like some new stuff. Like you can't walk to the bathrooms out of game. You got to do it in game, and then like whatever, which is fine. I love that. The idea of like you can't just like walk across the field of battle out of game to go take a piss.
Yeah, and be
like if you need to pee, you need to pee. You got to go in character sort of thing. But once you're in the bathroom, that should not be an in-game space. You know what I mean? Like that's a bad place to have any in-game interaction at all. It's the worst. And sometimes you just need a breather to like check your makeup and do your hair and whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, but it's a no combat zone, but it's in character. Like, well, how does that work? So somebody could come into the bathroom, like be angry at me, and I couldn't kill them in there.
But it's in character.
But it's in character, so it's canon. So they got away with being angry to my face. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do a lot of forum stuff. Yeah. Right? Because like you can't really fight there. And in character, Aeryn would not be standing at a mirror checking if her tattoos had worn off. Okay? And in character, Aeryn wouldn't be brushing her hair. You know what I mean? Like all this kind of stuff where I'm just like, I'm not brushing my teeth in character. This is stupid. You know?
It's like toothpaste doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's like that kind of shit, right? It's really annoying. So I basically just ignored it, which is a terrible thing to say about like a new rule that I've just been told about, but I just ignored it. Bathrooms being in game is terrible. It's a terrible idea. Yes, talking meta shit in the bathroom is also a terrible idea. Don't go into the bathroom and be like, did you hear about this thing that happened in game? Yeah. That's not what you're supposed to do, and that's what they were trying to avoid. But maybe just don't do that, like rather than overcorrecting for it to be in character. It's like, no, I'm not taking a shit in character as Aeryn in this stall in a modern bathroom with plumbing and shit. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I was a little frustrated about that, but I didn't bother to say anything really.
Well, I was The big thing that gets me is like, being able to take yourself out of game and go to an out of game space, I find is really important when things get intense.
Yeah.
And not having that place easily accessible or having that place be a public space, like you can go to plot camp and do that and stuff like that, kind of makes it more difficult. It makes it more difficult kind of to have that space.
You can't like sit. You can't like take a breather.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's harder. But regardless, like that wasn't a huge marring of the event. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm just griping about things that I thought were not a good thing after the good stuff. Because it's easy to say, like, I had a good time. Stuff was good. The end. But it's also important to recognize that sometimes things are bad ideas and should be considered silly. You know? I get it, though. Metagaming is bad, yeah, but having an out-of-game space is good. Even if it's just a small bathroom breather to, like, brush your teeth, check your hair, look at your makeup.
If people are going to metagame, they're
going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
They'll be in their cabin saying the same shit. You
know
what I mean? When's the next one? Well, the next stories we're going to tell are going to be next week.
Yeah.
Because we have, what do you call it? Underworld Sturmenzell, the Calgary chapter to go to, where we're going to play some new characters, some Dark Elves. It'll be their first game, so it'll be a great story to get in on. Although next week's stories will probably be pushed back a little bit because I have some scheduled front page time around now next week. But yeah, cool. I think that's everything I want to talk about. What do you think? Everything I want to talk about specifically about how the game went and all that business?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that's all I want to talk about that. We'll cut off the recording here. Thank you, YouTube people, for watching, and I hope you have a great day, you folks in the VODs. But we'll keep chatting with chat for a little while after this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.